Hi there, and welcome to this segment of your show. Like I said in the intro, my guest today is none other than Bishop Vusi Dube. Bishop Dube, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Pastor Chim. I'm glad to be back on the show again.
Bishop Dube is the bishop in charge of the Ethkweni Community Church in Durban, South Africa, a church that has grown into many branches across South Africa, and also a man who God continues to use inside and outside this country. He's also a member of parliament with the ruling party ANC on the provincial level. Yes. Bishop, we're going to go into every part of your life. Excellent. Because I think the discussion has a lot to do with this show. We normally want to challenge people to be salt and light in their community, and I think you are somebody who puts out your hand and puts out your leg to be that salt and light. Tell me, you grew up in KwaZulu-Natal, and you grew up even as a young boy. They used to speak over you. Your grandfather, Ethkweni Dube, was an evangelist with the Presbyterian Church. So you had already a ministerial heritage following you. As a little boy, they were calling you Mfundisi, which is pastor. Yes. But when you started growing up, you said, I would never be a pastor. Why?
Definitely. I grew up at a place called Empolweni. It's a mission, and my grandfather was a missionary in the Presbyterian Church. He moved all over the country. I grew up with my grandmother at this place. One of the things that I've seen in my upbringing, growing, was the element of poverty that is related with the pastoral work, because you don't live an opulent life. I never lived that life, even in my very young age. I grew up with my grandmother, but my father and my mother were in Pietermaritzburg, about 30 kilometers away. When you grew up at that time, you were made to grow up with your grandmother because your parents are busy. So that is the element of growth that I experienced. But my grandfather, I think he inculcated this thing because he is the first one who called me Mfundisi. That was the name that he used for me, with all other grandchildren that were there. But specifically,
he selected you for that name.
He selected me to be saying, I am Mfundisi, which means that I'm a pastor. And then when I grew up at home, that's the name they used to call me with.
So what put you off was this element of going this route will be a life of poverty, and it wasn't what was born in your heart. What was born in your heart at that stage?
Well, it was very interesting because when you hear and you listen how other people live outside there, you desire. When people are oppressed, they understand that we are oppressed. And in my heart, in my mind, I always counted myself as one of those people who will bring liberation to those people, who will set them free. How, I did not know, but I knew that I wanted to lead the people into an element of freedom. Wow. So when I grew up there, especially when I became the president of the SRC, because that was the days when I was being trained as a teacher, immediately when I left there, I went back to the community where I grew there at Empolweni. It was a place without electricity, without water, I said I'll go there and be a teacher. And I was a teacher in that place for 8 years.
Wow.
And that is where I met one leader who was called Skhumbuzo Ngwenya, who later on was obviously assassinated, who planted in us this element of the greater part of understanding that we may be teachers, but we cannot just teach the curriculum as it is. When we get into the class, you must inject the element of people to understand
who they are.
Especially of who they are supposed to be. At that time, I then was recruited to South African Democratic Teachers Union by him, because it was just starting. And I served a few months, and I was made the chairperson of the Midlands region of the SATU. And it was also at that time where I looked for my ways to join the African National Congress in Pietermaritzburg.
Which year was this?
It was, I think it was 1985.
1985.
It was 1985.
Now, all this while you are climbing up the ladder of political activism, you are getting really involved. But at a stage, as a teacher, you encountered Christ.
Well,
because you've told me before, maybe off the air, that at this stage you were looking that this Christianity thing doesn't line up with this.
Oh yes.
You were a Marzix. It was like, it doesn't line up with what we're trying to bring.
Well, definitely. It was, I mean, when you are deeply in politics, exposed to politics, where do you get time to think about God, about church? Because you know, the question is, if God is real, we must be free.
Yeah. Why are we oppressed if God is
why
real?
Why are we oppressed if God is? When I moved to Durban after that, well, that is where one of the days I woke up to say, because I come from a religious family.
Yeah.
I woke up to say, let me just go to church.
Let me just play into church.
It's a free Sunday after my night of joy, being out, and I met a certain lady with a Bible. It was in Albert Park in Durban, if you know that place.
Yeah.
And then I asked her, where are you going? She said, I'm going to church. I said, can I join? I was in jeans. Can I join you? Yes, she said, no, you can come. That is the first time I went to church that is led by Prophet Benjamin Kutswane.
Wow.
And in the first service where he ministered, he called for an altar call. Guess what? I was one of the people who lifted his hand and said,
I want to give my life to
want
Christ.
to give my life to Jesus. I can still remember because in his service, in his ministry, he quoted a very powerful word. If one is in Christ, he's a new creature. The old has passed and the new has come.
Bishop will take a short break and be right back.
Thank you.